Even in the winter, produce farmers have some projects going on. Our most successful crop that we grow is our garlic, and this last fall we put in over an acre. So it's a big deal for us, especially because we do everything by hand. We are not using big equipment. We are out there planting by hand and harvesting by hand. It all cures in the pole barn, and then we sell a lot of it for seed and for eating. And we keep some of it back for our own seed. We plant our own seed. But when we're done planting, there's always seed left over. Some cloves are too small to plant, and sometimes, like this last year, we just run out of room. And that's when we look to other things that we can do with the garlic. We are making a number of projects, and I'd like to show you a little bit about how that goes. Today we're going into the bowels of the house. I'm taking you to a few different places. The first is this closet where we have canned goods and other things, and I wanted to show you some of my projects. One of the things that we're making is garlic tincture, and you can see it right here. This didn't fit in my dropper bottles. You can see that it's settled. What this is, it's minced garlic tinctured in vodka for 3 weeks and then strained. And you get something that looks like this. You shake it up, shake it around, and then you get the goodness of the garlic right in the liquid. And what I do with it is I put it in these dropper bottles. You can see this label's sort of worn out. This is from my in-laws. They wanted a refill, but it gets filled. These are 4-ounce bottles, and they're all filled with garlic tincture, and I'm getting ready to label those and get them on the website. One of the other things that I'm working on is powdering garlic. You can see a quart of it here. It's nicely dried, not clumpy. It's tough. It's actually tougher than you may think. This is a quart of powdered garlic. A lot of garlic cloves go into that. And the last project that we're working on is garlic salt. And you can see that here. I've got about 1.5 gallons of it. It's 4 to 5 parts salt. 4 parts salt and 1 part garlic. And the idea is to mix that thoroughly and to get the ratio right. And I'm going to be working on drying more garlic now so that we have garlic powder to sell, but also because when I look at the garlic salt, it looks to me like the ratio is not quite right. It needs a little more garlic, and I need more powdered garlic in order to make that happen. So now we are descending into the true bowels of the farmhouse, if you dare. Farmhouse basements are always scary. But in any case, among the mess in here, we store the garlic because it's actually about the right temperature for it. We have our own supply here, nice bulbs of garlic. We hang it in a bag where it can breathe, and it stores all the way through to the next summer. You can see we have beautiful bulbs of culinary garlic, and it holds up very nicely. The onions hung there as well, and lots of other goodies on the shelf. But what I'm focused on today would be what you see right here. Well, what you're seeing in there are large cloves of garlic and some smaller cloves as well. Basically, the larger cloves are just leftover. We ran out of space. They're from the German white, which has large cloves all around. But then we have a lot of smaller cloves as well because we grow another variety called Persian Star, and that one has both large cloves and small cloves. And you end up planting the larger cloves, and then the smaller ones, well, this is the sort of thing you do with them. You turn them into powder and other goodies. Since I'm in the basement anyway, getting this garlic, I thought I'd show off just a little bit of how we preserve food. We end up storing a lot of squash. It's definitely something that we eat a lot of. And squash actually stores very well at a basement temperature because the humidity is good during the winter months. It's not quite as humid because of the heater vent down here. And so it's not overly humid and it doesn't get overly cold. We also have potatoes down here. The potatoes actually would do with a colder temperature. We try to keep them under here. You can see that they are all sprouting. And you may not know this, but they're still edible as they sprout. They can still be eaten. You just take the sprouts off. The important thing is making sure that they don't turn green. Some squash store better than others. You see the butternut and spaghetti store really well. We have some pie pumpkins here, and if you take a good look at those, they are at the end of their shelf life. There's some that will go to the pigs. This is great for them, actually. But even the ones that are good are starting to shrivel. And if we're going to save any of these, that's why we don't have any mice down here. There you can see that we've got a wide variety of things. All things that we preserve. A lot of blanching. And a lot of, well, butchering. I saw a turkey in there. I saw some chickens. We got a lot of meat in this freezer. We make all our own meats. You can see, pork liver. That one needs to be used up. Never mind the chicken feet in there. Those are saved for the dogs. Rosemary also makes some broth from, or stock, I guess you'd call it, from the chicken feet. We make pork links. Lots of good stuff in the freezer. But we actually try to use the freezer as little as possible because, it's dependent on electricity and it's always running. We do a lot of canning. You can see a lot of tomato products and a lot of empty jars because, honestly, we go through this stuff pretty quickly. We have a good supply, but we do go through it pretty quickly too. We have different shelves with different things on them. You might be able to make out carrots and corn there. Those need to be put in the pressure canner actually because they are a low acid product. We also do some canned meats. I think that looks like canned goat meat there, some hot sauce, some of Rosemary's stock on the lower shelf. So there are a lot of different things here. And I wanted to show you. If you see on top, initially this scared me, but the fact of it is it's called the mother, and it is a growth that ultimately ends up sealing the jar. So when we use these, we will open that up again and we will scrape the mother off, and the taste of the fermented beans is amazing as opposed to like pickled beans or dilly beans, I guess you call them. The taste, it's like a taste of summer because they actually crunch like a fresh bean would, but they get some of the salt from the salt you put in when you ferment them. So that's a project. I think we're going to do more of that. You can also, of course, see our onions, little sprouting up there. You see the green coming out the top? When we see that, they will be the onions that we use the soonest, but really they keep fairly well. Onions get sun cured, and after some time in the sun, you very carefully braid them. If you are going to live off the land and not produce a lot of money, you can't really have a different budget for alcohol, so I make my own. But on this shelf, besides my wine, we have some other cool things. Do you see in the back? That's vinegar from 2 years ago, and the tops of those, let me pull out the jar. The tops have mothers, just like the fermented beans. And those mothers basically seal the vinegar in, and we'll take it off when we use it. I'm not going to take the top off here, but under this cheesecloth is 5 gallons of cider which is turning into vinegar. You can see the fruit flies on top, but they're mostly kept out by the cheesecloth. We wouldn't be good Germans if we didn't still have 5 gallons of sauerkraut down here, all prepared to eat. You can see toward the top, there's a little bit that'll have to be scraped off, but as you go farther down, this kraut is amazing, and it's fresh, and it's a taste of summer, and it's absolutely delicious. Tell us about the benefits of garlic tincture.
I actually think you're probably better at telling that because you're the one who wrote up the whole piece.
Yeah, I know, but you're the one very convinced about it.
For ourselves, we like garlic tincture. If you're a lazy cook, it can be very nice to just use garlic tincture instead of peeling and cleaning and crushing garlic.
Seriously, we have one of those 4-ounce bottles in the cabinet, and
For in a pinch.
I understand why people use minced garlic from the store. It's very easy. The garlic tincture, you just put a dropper full, and you get a nice garlic flavor.
For me, growing up as a little child, I always had chronic ear infections. And so even up into my adult life, I have dealt with ear infections. So garlic is really awesome because you can use the tincture to help treat an ear infection, or you can also even take raw garlic itself and place it. You wouldn't want to shove it in your ear, but you can place it literally like in the ear canal, and it'll burn. But I'll tell you, it actually works to help cure an ear infection.
There's a compound called allicin, and when you crush garlic, it produces allicin. And there's actually a lot of scientific research into the benefits of garlic. It has potential as an antibacterial agent, and what else? Antimicrobial as well.
Isn't it also good for like high cholesterol?
That's right. Yeah, that information sheet I had mentioned some studies that show that it is good for high cholesterol and general health. I mean, I know people, I don't know if you'd want to do this if you're trying to attract dates, but I know people who, when they are feeling under the weather or it's just that time of year, who will put drops of garlic tincture in a cup of water, stir it up, and drink it down. I've done that before.
We smell like garlic all the time, so it doesn't bother us.
We eat a lot of garlic, obviously.
Doesn't bother us.
So the garlic tincture, we also use it for the animals.
Yes, we do use garlic tincture for the animals, but actually even more so than the garlic tincture, I like to blend up garlic cloves, and I put molasses and ginger, and I'll put in oil. I actually happen to have walnut oil of all things that I use, but I'll use olive oil or walnut oil or some sort of oil to make it a little more smooth, if you will. And sometimes I'll even throw a little cayenne in there. And we use it for the animals for helping with deworming and for parasites. And most of them actually come and literally lick it right off the spoon. They love it. With that molasses in there, they get excited.
A lot of the goats know it's good for them. They do. They are very eager for it.
They crave it.
Or the molasses. Who knows?
Sugar's good too.
Yep.
That molasses has B vitamins.
Yep. So we're trying 2 new products this year. I'm excited about it. What we're doing right now is we're using this dehydrator, this present in
My dehydrator.
Rosemary's dehydrator, to dehydrate these cloves of garlic, and then we will be able to put them in the Vitamix and end up with a garlic powder, which I've never really used garlic powder, but apparently a lot of people have it in their kitchen. So it'll go on the website together with the garlic tincture. And the other thing is, I mixed it with salt, so we have garlic salt as well. So we will have 3 different products. We call them value-added products. And they're all creative ways to extend what we're doing during the growing season, bring in a little extra income for the farm, and share good food with people, I guess.
Yeah.
So this will go several days.
Yes.
3 days, I think.
It takes quite a while.
And the idea is it has to be, if you try to do this at home, from the first time I know this, you have to make sure it actually is dry, because otherwise it clumps.
It's not going to be
The
nice powder.
second time I did it, it's a very nice powder. There's no clumping at all. So even if you think it's dry, you should probably let it go a little longer than that to make sure all the moisture is out of that. And then you avoid the clumping without having to use, I don't know what.
You're slacking.
Oh, yes, sorry. Well, I was trying to think, what absorbents do they use in a lot of products, anti-caking agents? I know some of them are actually carcinogens.
Oh, I don't know because we don't use that, so
Yeah.
I don't really think about it.
But if you're not going
we
to
do not
add an
use them
anti-caking
ourselves.
agent, you definitely have to get it dry, or you're going to end up with clumps and you're not going to be able to shake it out.
Really stuck.
First taste out of the jar. That's good. Where are you going, sweetie?
To go help a goat.
Isn't this the most fun time of year?
No.
No? Are you sure? It's the miracle of life. Come on.
We are not smart having babies in February. It's seriously cold.
All right. We'll take your phone with you.
We'll do.